Hey everybody, it's Heffa. Today I'm going to be talking about a book that I read recently, which is The Four Agreements, a Toltec wisdom book by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this I would consider a classic, right? I mean, it's got like amazing reviews. Everyone who's like on a self-help journey always reads this book. So I checked it out from my library. I'm just gonna get straight into it. I don't have any notes or anything, so keep that in mind, okay, before you cyberbully me. So, Four Agreements. Did it live up to the hype? Yes. Yes. This book at times was repetitive. I felt like it could have been even shorter. This book is 138 pages. And it could have been shorter. I don't want to say exactly what the agreements are because I don't want, like, no spoilers. One of the criticisms that I have of this book is his views on gossip. And of course he talks about gossip and that it's emotional poison. I feel like as a woman, as human beings, gossip can save lives. Someone who talks a lot about this is queer Xicano Chisme, who is a content creator on YouTube and also Twitter and Instagram. I love queer Xicano Chisme, but he is the one who introduced this idea to me, at least, that Chisme can save lives. This, for example, in this book, which I think was a horrible example by the author, he gives an example about how you imagine you're in school and you're about to take this class and you're really excited to take this class with this teacher. And then on the first day of class, you run into someone who took the class before who tells you, oh, that instructor was such a jerk. He didn't know what he was talking about. And he's a pervert too, so watch out. And then you're immediately, I'm reading from the book, you're immediately imprinted with the word and emotional code the person had when saying this. But what you are not aware of is his or her motivation in telling you. This person could be angry for failing the class or simply making an assumption based on fears and prejudices. But because you have learned to ingest information like a child, some part of you believes the gossip and you go to class. But even though it's a totally normal class, but in your head you're creating this narrative that he's a pervert and a jerk. And then you drop the class, you blame the teacher, but it is the gossip that is to blame. It's one thing saying that the teacher's a jerk, but it's a whole nother thing to say, oh, this teacher's a pervert. Because, look, out here, we can't trust that abusers are going to be locked up in jail. Because they're not. So how else are we supposed to know that this guy is an abuser if someone doesn't tell us? You know, if we don't hear it from, because that's what we got to hear. We got to hear it from the streets. It's not like they're going to be locked up if they're a bad person. You know what I mean? Also, if a girl tells me a guy's a pervert, I'm believing her, okay? Because better safe than fucking sorry, bitch. Women don't use that lightly. If a friend told me that this teacher was a pervert, then I'm keeping my distance, okay? I might still have to take the class, but I've got my eyes on him, and I'm very careful with the interactions that I have with him and the interactions that he has with other people. Because Rate My Professor is going to be lit. Again, Chisme saves lives. If you want to learn more about that, please go look up Queer Xicano Chisme. I will link his YouTube and his Instagram and Twitter in the description. Another criticism that I have about this book, he uses black magic as something bad. Like when you talk poorly about yourself, you're casting a curse on yourself, aka black magic. And when you speak well of yourself, tell yourself how wonderful you are, and tell yourself how great you are, you're using white magic. After many repetitions, these new agreements will become second nature, and you will see how the magic of your word transforms you from a black magician to a white magician. That's just like racist, and Martin Luther King spoke about that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop it, sweetie. You know what? I didn't even look up when this book was written, 97. I don't want to just talk about critiques. I also want to talk about things that I liked. He said that what I think about myself is the only thing that matters. So anyone that says something to me, saying like, oh, hey, Heffa, you look really good today, that doesn't affect the feelings towards myself. It doesn't make me feel better about myself. Or if someone says, hey, Heffa, you look like shit, that's not going to make me feel less of myself. I was also thinking, like, oh, does that mean that I don't accept compliments? But like I can accept them and say thank you and be like, mm-hmm, yeah, yeah, look good. You know, whatevs. Know within yourself that you're that bitch, and you and anything anyone else has to say, even if it's good, doesn't matter. Something I kind of disagreed with on that point, though, is that I'll read this from the book. You may even tell me, Miguel, what you are saying is hurting me, but it is not what I am saying that is hurting you. It is that you have wounds that I touch by what I have said. You are hurting yourself. And then a little later, then if you get mad at me, I know you are dealing with yourself. I am the excuse for you to get mad. I feel like that idea needs a lot of unpacking. But it just left a very bad kind of victim blamey taste in my mouth. Like I was saying before, like if you were that sure of yourself where like anyone's comments, good or bad, just didn't have any effect on you, then sure. But we don't live in that kind of world. Not everyone is the freaking Buddha, bro. Even though it may technically be true that if you said something hurtful to someone, it's their insecurities that are being hurt by it. He doesn't really say like to not be a shitty person. I don't know. People hurt people accidentally all the time. So I don't know. See, this is something that I'm not sure of. If anyone has any opinions about this kind of idea, please leave them in the comments, because I really wish I would have read this with a book club, but I mean, I'm flying solo. But I really like this idea of don't take anything personally. If that last part was like subtly victim blamey, this one is full on hardcore. All right, so I'm gonna read from the book now. You don't need to blame your parents for teaching you to be like them. What else could they teach you but what they know? They did the best they could, and if they abused you, it was due to their own domestication, their own fears, their own beliefs. They had no control over the programming they received, so they couldn't have behaved any differently. There is no need to blame your parents or anyone who abused you in your life, including yourself. This is so just like excusing abusive behavior to me. They had no control over the programming they received. True, I feel the same way about my upbringing. So they couldn't have behaved any differently, they meaning the parents. No. So a lot of our parents didn't grow up in the best households. I mean, I know personally from mine, my parents grew up in very Latino, like machismo atmospheres, and that definitely carried on into the way that they parented me. Yes, your parents were, if they're abusive to you now, they were probably abused and are just carrying on that generational trauma, but does that excuse it? No, girl. Let me repeat this part. There is no need to blame your parents or anyone who abused you in your life, including yourself. But it's time to stop the abuse. It's time to be free from the role of the victim. There's no need to blame anyone who abused you in your life. Really? Even if you were a child, which most of us were when our parents abused us. It just don't add up, sis. I mean, it would take a shit ton of therapy and meditation to get to the point where that doesn't affect your life. That's a fucking privilege. That's a fucking privilege that I don't have. I can't afford therapy. I live in America, bitch. Okay? We don't got healthcare like that, girl. So, okay, I'm getting a little riled up here, but like, not all of us have the fucking time or access or like just resources to even know about healing your inner victim. And I understand that this book is kind of just like a starting point, and it's only like 138 pages long or whatever, but did not like this part. Okay, for a change of pace, a couple things that I liked about the book. I really like this angel of death idea and how we can learn from the angel of death and embrace the angel of death. The angel of death can teach us to live every day as if it is the last day of our lives. as if there may be no tomorrow. We can begin each day by saying, I am awake, I see the sun, I'm going to give my gratitude to the sun and to everything and everyone because I am still alive. One more day to be myself. That was my favorite part, the one more day to be myself. Like, yes, bitch. One more day. And we can do that every day. This is so basic, like spirituality shit, but like for some reason, like, yes. I think I might want to write this down and put that on my wall too, because like that is a good way to like start my morning. Okay, final thoughts. I really love this. I feel like it lives up to the hype. I think I definitely want to start living my life following the 4 agreements. When I get in my feelings about something, I definitely see how if I had followed the 4 agreements, it wouldn't have happened, you know? So, or I could have avoided this. So I definitely think that it is life-changing in that way. I have read, you know, Western wisdom books and, you know, Eastern wisdom books. But I don't feel like they impacted me as much as this one, which is a Toltec wisdom book. Just because I know it's Mesoamerican, I know it's indigenous, and I know I have that ancestry. Despite this book being flawed a little bit, I still think that everyone should read it. I need to walk away being like, this is the new Bible for me to rate it 5 stars, so I did not do that. I gave it 4. I think this is great rules to live by. Again, don't read a lot of self-help. So some of this, if you read a lot of self-help, maybe sounds like kind of like the angel of death thing. It's just like, yeah, live every day like it's our last, like duh. But I don't know. I liked it. I'm not an idiot. And if you say that I am in the comments, like I already know myself, and your comments have no effect on me.